Hello everyone and welcome to Stan the Wine Man TV. Today we're going to talk about white blends, and will white blends ever take off, or are they going to continue to struggle? And I say that based on my observation in the wine department that I worked at for a long time. As you notice, I've changed the introduction just a little bit. I want some ideas from you guys. I'm kind of getting tired of the introduction. I mean, I like it. I do want to help you spend your wine dollars wisely. All of that's true. But, I just want to make it simpler. I want to get right to the point of what we're talking about. And I want to know what you think. I mean, do you think that's a good idea? I really want to know because you guys are the ones that know. And if you want to hear me continue in my little spiel I've done for many years, I'll keep doing it. But I think I just want to get to the point. And the point right now is, will white blends ever take off? And in my career at the store, which is a long career, actually, I've been doing the wine department for over 30 years, been in the wine department, selling wine for over 30 years, among other jobs. I mean, I was a grocery manager / wine guy, I was a assistant manager / wine guy, I was the store manager / wine guy. Those were difficult times. Now I do this job solely because we have liquor and beer and wine, so it's a full-time job, and I have 2 assistants. So yes, it is a full-time job. White blends are interesting to me, and I don't know about you. In fact, I'd like to hear in the comments, do you have a favorite white blend that you like to go to? We sell quite a bit of Menage a Trois white blend. Not a lot, though. But I do have 2 of my #1 selling white blends here at the store, and we're going to talk about those. And it's interesting that I've heard from many winemakers that it's a lot harder to make white wine than red wine. And when I first heard that, I go, well, that doesn't really make sense to me. I think it'd be harder to make a red wine. And I talked to Derek Vipod, he's the winemaker at Walla Walla Vintners. I like Derek quite a bit. He's a great winemaker. And he said, here's why they say that. It's because you only get 1 shot with white wine. It's not like you can do several lots of whites and blend them together. No, you make your white wine, you do what you need to do, and you hope that it comes out okay. Whereas with red blends, you can, red wines, you can have a barrel of cab here, a barrel of cab there, this and that, and you can tweak it, which makes sense. But white wines are not quite that simple, and there are some I've met winemakers that don't even make white wine, and now I understand why. So, white wine is harder to make than red wine, believe it or not. Hopefully that adds to your encyclopedia of wine knowledge. So we're going to taste 3 white blends. And I'm just curious, I am curious to hear what you have tasted that you like and that you go to. I know that in France they've been doing it for a long time. In Rhone Valley, they blend their whites. Bordeaux blends their whites. They have Sauv Blanc, Semillon. It's been going on in Europe for a long time. It's just that they don't make a big deal out of it. They just do it, right? And so we have one right here, which is actually a fairly good seller in my department at the store. But we're going to start out with one of my #1 selling white blends. It's the 2024 Thurston Wolf PGV White, standing for Pinot Gris Viognier, Columbia Valley. I sell a lot of this wine. I have it in the cold box. It's just a constant mover. A lot of people like it. It's $16. Thurston Wolf is a very well-known Washington winery. They do a lot of great wines. I like the winery. So we are going to give this one a try. So Pinot Gris Viognier. Believe it or not, in my early days, it took me forever to learn how to say Viognier. I don't know why it's so easy now. I think about it. So I sympathize with people that struggle with wine terms. I never forget the time I did the episode on Vouvray, and one of my viewers, I hope he's still watching, I hope so, I thought it was funny. He said, what Frenchman pissed you off so much that you butcher their language? And I thought that was funny. Yes, I'll admit that when it comes to pronunciation of some French terms, I am very poor at it. I try. I do my best, but not always perfect. So color on this is quite clear. Viognier, Pinot Gris is a big seller. Viognier, not so much, but I actually noticed that Viognier is picking up quite a bit in my department. So people are catching on to Viognier. New World and Old World alike. Let's see what we get on the nose. Right away I got a little apple and a little touch of banana. And some melon. So pretty, not hugely aromatic. And as you know, with my white wines, I try to drink them the way I think most of you will drink them, and that's cold. I know there's some sommeliers and people in the wine world that think you should drink them at room temperature. Well, they do show a little bit better aromatically at room temperature, but I think most of my viewers, and I want to hear from you, and you have commented before and I appreciate it, do drink yours on the cold side. I don't like them freezing cold, but just cold. Apple, melon, a little bit of banana. Let's see what we get on the palate. Well, I can see why people like this wine. See, Viognier has that nice fruity tone to it. I used to describe some Viogniers as fruit salad without the whipped cream. Well, some people don't put whipped cream in their fruit salad. My mom always did, so I grew up with that. I just threw Cool Whip in there with the fruit salad, which I really liked, to be quite honest. So, but this one has that, because it has a Pinot Gris, it kind of tones it down a little bit. It has some good acidity, which I like, which makes it really nice with food. You have to have acid to match the food. You just got to be careful what food you pair this one with. But good acidity, nice balance. It has that nice fruitiness. I get some, which is interesting, I get the apple on the palate, and I'm getting a little bit of a stone fruit characteristic as well. I might even be getting a little bit of, well, I am. Not might, I know. I am getting a little kind of an Asian pear component coming through. But I understand why people like this. It has some tropical fruit notes. It may be hedging towards pineapple, a little bit of stone fruit, maybe some apricot in there, maybe a little bit of peach. So that Viognier really adds that to the Pinot Gris. Pinot Gris is a very popular wine. I sell a ton of Pinot Gris in the summertime and throughout the winter, but boy, it's going to start really picking up as the weather gets warmer. This is a really nice wine. I understand why I sell a lot of it. Good blend, $16, good price. I'm going to go B+ on that. I think it's a very solid wine. So I'm glad that Thirst and Wolf does so well, because it's obvious that people are interested in white blends. What I don't understand is why people don't stretch out just a little bit and try different white blends. Getting stuck on one wine is okay, but I've always compared wine to coffee, right? So you start out with your coffee, you put sugar, cream, maybe, then all of a sudden you're drinking it black, and then all of a sudden you're drinking Turkish coffee. That you see how the evolution goes. Sometimes that doesn't work with wine. People find their favorite wine and stick to it. They feel safe. I'd like you to experiment. I really would. I would like you to reach out. So let's see if we can find one that you can reach out to and feel safe with. This is the 2025 Domaine Les Clos de Lumière Côte de Rhone Blanc. And this is 50%, or 40% Viognier, 30% Grenache Blanc, and 30%, right? Make sure I got the 7, yeah, 30% Roussanne. So Rhone Valley, Roussanne, Marsanne, Grenache Blanc, Viognier, all grapes that they grow there, and they often will make white blends out of them. I have yet to find a Grenache Blanc from the Rhone Valley that I really like, but I could find one eventually. I've been looking, trust me. So this is the label, $14. Again, clear. This has a little more gold color to it than the Thirst and Wolf. But it also has Roussanne, which can add that color to it. Let's see what we get on the nose. This almost has like a soapy, like you're in the shower and somebody has some really exotic kind of soap. Some nice kind of Bartlett pear thing going on. Not so much apple. In fact, I'm getting maybe a little mango on this one, papaya. And there seems to be just a hint of grass, fresh cut grass. And definitely some melon notes. So let's see what we get on the palate. So yeah, definitely I get a papaya mango thing going on. Get some melon notes. This has good acidity as well. I think it's about equal to the Thurston Wolf, probably. The melon notes come through. Then there's a nice kind of underlying little bit of minerality, which you'd expect from the New World, right? I mean the Old World, excuse me, Old World. And there's an interesting little bit of just a hint of slight bitterness, not off-putting, but just there, which again, I would expect from Old World wines. So this is a really good food wine, definitely a good food wine. I would have this with pork, hands down, easily. This would be good with portobello mushrooms as well. And it has a little white pepper on the finish. Good balance, like this wine. I'm going to go B plus on that one as well. $14. A good red blend. Now, for the newbie getting into wine, I might avoid this one. But for those of you that have dove into white wines and white blends, you would like this, especially with food. Like I said, portobello pork would be great with this one. Maybe a little bit of a white fish would be really good. This would work with crab as well. So good wine. Now we're going to jump up in dollars. But this is a winery that I've just recently kind of discovered, and I really like them. They're from the Yakima Valley, Deneen Vineyards white wine, 2024. This is a 50%. Sorry, I took the notes. They're in my wallet. 50% Roussanne, 50% Viognier. So all these have Viognier. This has 50-50. This is $25, so a little bit more money. But I like these guys. They call it, now this is interesting, they call it Condruesque white wine. Now, for those of you who know, and I know a lot of you do, Condru is a region in the Rhone Valley, and they produce Viognier, and the Viognier is absolutely ethereal. It's fantastic. They're expensive, for sure, but if you ever get a chance to try Condru, you might want to try them. It can be so rich and beautiful and great wines. So this is $25, Yakima Valley, Deneen Vineyards, Condruesque white, 50-50. 50 Viognier, 50 Roussanne. The old notes in the wallet trick, right? I know $25 is not chump change, but you know, sometimes you want to splurge just a little bit. Not as dark. Actually, the Clos de Lumière is the darkest of the two. This is closer to the Thurston Wolf. Interesting. Let's see what we get on the nose. The least aromatic of the three, which is kind of scares me a little bit. Yeah, in fact, I'm really having a hard time. A little bit of melon. I'm getting an interesting sort of tiny bit of nuttiness on the nose. But overall, I'm not gonna bullshit you. That's, you know, aromatically challenged. Same. Let's see what we get on the palate. Well, this is definitely the nicely integrated. I mean, it's very smooth on the palate. Again, I don't know really on this one. I would like to see more expression of fruit. I mean, I tried it earlier this year, and I liked it. I like this wine. It has an apple kind of Asian pear component coming through. It's very nicely integrated, so it's very smooth on the palate. And if you let it aerate a little bit in your mouth, I would definitely on this one, see now there's some stuff, there's some life coming through on this one. I get a mango, papaya, white pepper, melon, Asian pear, a little bit of apple coming through on this one. A little bit of that nuttiness that I got on the nose is there in the palate a little bit. Just like, it reminds me maybe of a filbert, maybe just a little bit of a nuttiness there coming through. And that white pepper is beautiful. So I think as this one warms up a little bit more, so if you're one of those people that like your wine straight out of the fridge into the glass, you might, with this particular wine, just let it warm up a little bit, because this, as it warmed up in my mouth, the flavors really started to pop. Yeah, really nice wine. What I like about this one is it's really, really well integrated. So there's no herky-jerkiness to it at all. It's just nicely blended together, really flows across the palate nicely, and that finish is quite intense. As it warms up in the mouth, you get that kind of white pepper thing going on. So, yeah, I think when Chet brought this by for me, the sales rep, I think it was a little bit on the, not quite as cold as it is now. So this is a wine, if you ever run across a wine and you say, why did I spend 25 bucks on it? You pull it out of the fridge, just let it sit for about a half hour. And I guarantee you this baby will show itself quite nicely. And I'm going to go B+ on that as well. I think just after it warms up a little bit, it really comes to life. It's nicely integrated. It has a lot of full-bodied weight to it, but it has the acidity that is nicely integrated. Great food wine as well. So really 3 white blends that all show very nicely. And for a $25 wine, for me to give it a B+, that means it's probably just a hair better than the other two, just saying, because of the price point. But, once again, I say, if you're going to want to splurge a little bit on this particular one, this Deneen Vineyards, just let it warm up just a little bit more. In fact, the finish is still lingering, which is really, really cool. So B+, hedging towards A- perhaps. There you have it. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I do want some comments or some suggestions. I'm the wine guy with street creds. I mean, I've been doing this retail stuff for a long time, so I understand how to, people's palates and, what they like or don't like. I mean, I've learned that throughout my career and helping people buy wine. That's what I kind of pride myself in. So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed this episode. You keep watching, and I'll keep teaching you about wine. I got to change that ending too, but I will keep helping you spend your wine dollars wisely, just saying.